Dun, dun. All right, back to this. How do I want to do this? Don't feel like doing it twice. Hey, shapeshifter. That's fine. I don't need it to be crazy. Then we do the fun part. There we go. Hey, Fox. Hope everyone's doing well. Hey, Alex. Hope you're well. Yeah, I'm gonna try to do my best to keep this up from Mondays through Fridays. I'm gonna try to not slack off when it comes to streaming. The only thing I gotta really wrap my mind around is just what to draw exactly. So I think if there's not like a comic thing or like a Fat Lovers Club thing that I can show or something like that, then I'll probably default to character art, which isn't bad because I need to do more of that anyway. So that'll probably be the common thing that I do during these. And like drawing secrets isn't a big deal. It's just whether or not they have like mature stuff that I can't show. At least not on Twitch. Shoot, on YouTube it's fine unless there's like sexual stuff going on. Then I'm not able to. Because YouTube's fine with nudity and some sexual themes, but when you get to like actual fucking and stuff like that, then that's where the line is. And of course there's like an asterisk to that, because like even clothed characters can be considered overly sexual to YouTube at some point. But that's the question mark area. Doing alright. Just working on this. I should be able to finish it aside from dialogue on stream. But we'll see what happens. How are we doing this? Yeah, the fire's getting bad. I don't live in the areas that are affected, but still, like it went from like 3 to 5 fires from what I know. And like the firefighters are heavily spread thin. hopefully the situation gets resolved sooner than later. Or ice cream. Yeah, yeah. I'm not near any of that. But yeah, hopefully they can put him out as quickly as they can. There was a point a while back where that shit was happening like every year. I don't know if that's still been the case, but there was a point where that was just literally happening every year. To the point where when I was still in high school, they would close some days because of the ash that would make it over to where I lived. They probably would have made her ass because no, because it's a health risk and they could get in deep trouble if that was the case. I ain't complaining. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Caitlyn has. It was not that long ago. Caitlyn was just eating a bunch of donuts, but you know she ran, and you know that took up energy. Yeah, because the collar just all it does is manipulate how she looks. It doesn't change any of her other attributes, like her having a big appetite or something like that. And it's basically just kind of putting certain things into like suspended animation. So like gaining the ridiculous calories and nutrients or whatever that would hit her later. That's like part of the collar's doing. But like the way she visualizes herself ideally, that's what the collar is giving her form as. So she's just greedy. Yeah, a bit. And she's not like rich, but she has money. She has the whole I don't need to think about money sort of position. But mostly because her parents have money, not because she herself has money. But she's not like the selfish Valley Girl type. Like she's not gonna like put somebody down for not having money or anything like that. But she is definitely a foodie. And probably the only thing that's really kept her held back is just kind of the social appearance with her friends. While Lawrence, who is her oldest friend, wouldn't care if she put on a few extra pounds. Nah, I wouldn't say she would be friendless if she became gigantic. Her other friends would be drastically or like dramatically surprised, but they wouldn't like disown her. Especially when or assuming there's even a conversation with them that I would show, because I could always show it in another at another time. But assuming she did get into a conversation with them after she becomes a fucking whale at this point, they would realize how much she's stressed over it, and they would do better by her. So yeah, like they wouldn't drop her just because she put on a ton of weight. Yeah, total bitch as in thinking she could eat whatever and still look the way she looks with the collar. But not in the sense of like shunning people. Like she may get cocky and kind of bring up weight if it's like a moment to like be snarky about it, but it wouldn't be like her overall personality. They may want to join the feed. No, her friends aren't into that except for Lawrence. But they wouldn't like drop they wouldn't drop her for being fat. or being gigantic would be the better way to put it, because she was already chubby to begin with. It doesn't need any of that. Oh, I'm not subtle either. It is very clear what I'm into around my friends. I just don't have to say anything after a certain point because they'll immediately have it in their head of what I'm probably thinking. Put some chocolate on this banana. Like, because I draw lewds and stuff like that, every once in a while I've had a friend ask me if I thought that they could do OnlyFans or something like that, and I'm like, yeah, anybody can. It's just a matter of how you go about it. Like, even people have been doing that shit before OnlyFans existed, so it's not a new idea. I mean, hell, there was one woman on Pornhub who's like who does the whole like foodie feedy thing, and she was making like $38K a month or something like that for a good while, if memory serves. Is Lawrence gonna be the romantic interest? Yeah, he is into sorry, he is into her. Is just he has a bad way of being romantic with Caitlyn, because like the best he can do is just compliment her chubbiness, and so he's like just really bad at it, and she's aware that he's into her. Especially towards her, chubby figure and all that, because they've been friends for so long. She just has it in her head that her being chubby is a bad thing because of how what her friends think of being too fat, type of thing. And like, even though they don't like tease her about it or whatever, it's just their constant thoughts about it. And I probably should have leaned in that a little bit more. I should have shown like a background character who was fat to kind of hammer that in, but they did have that brief discussion about her weight. And there's always a moment where I could like have Caitlyn come across her friends while Caitlyn's like skinny, and lies about how it happened or whatever. And then they, go about the rest of the day, or whenever this takes place, because I could always do like a small time skip thing, but have it where they're just going around shopping, guy hunting, stuff like that, and then they see like a fatter character, and then they just make like some crude remarks or something. I can always do something like that to kind of hammer in their thought process when it comes to overweight people. It's not exactly necessary, but if I feel that it needs to be a thing, then I can do that. Yeah, they're supportive about, Caitlyn's feelings about being chubby and stuff like that. Which is why they kind of lean more into her losing weight rather than Lawrence's fat fetish. and they don't dislike Lawrence. They just think that he's a bad influence in terms of encouraging Caitlyn being fat. And luckily for them, Lawrence doesn't have the capabilities that Skylar does. Yeah, it's not gonna be like a super romance thing. It's just gonna be more like, hey, I still think you look fine the way you are type of thing. Like, it's not gonna be a dramatic romance thing similar to IHHAT 1. It's just gonna be like, hey, I think you look fine this way. And of course, Caitlyn will probably lose weight at some point after all the events. It's just gonna take a while because of depending on how much impact she gets from it. Because still debating on whether or not I'm gonna make her like huge like Marcy level, or like, I don't know, what's the best example I can tell you that she would probably look like. Let me look at these for a moment. Maybe. So far, I'm leaning towards... that fan art I did of Daisy Duck. If not that, then probably a little bit smaller than that, or like distribute her weight in a different way to get the point across. So that's my thought on it. This is only going to be a simple short story. No need to. Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, there's not going to be multiple endings now. Yeah, this is all canon. Like, I'm just leaning towards a small, simple story. Okay, and the question is, how big do I want this filling split to be? And which character will be responsible for bringing this? Because right now it's a toss-up between Vanilla and a different character. Vanilla sounds like that would make more sense. But I'm also leaning towards, where are you? Dun dun dun. Oh, there you are. Do I want to use you? Yes, just because of how big the Sunday is. Well, I could always do like a small little bonus picture of her like working out with Lawrence to lose weight and show her like a little slimmer. But the whole point is that she has a bit of a journey ahead of her before she gets back to normal. And normal can be a little subjective because it could be return to what she originally looked like, or be a little bit chubbier than when the comic started. So either or. But the main idea is that she becomes a little bit more comfortable with being bigger. But she obviously wouldn't want to go overboard. Unlike Marcy, who can down a Thanksgiving table made for like 8. Yeah, an epilogue pick. No, I'm gonna do it. I mean, I can always do like, because I plan to do at least 3 pictures as a bonus for the set. So I could do one that's an epilogue pick, one of her just being, skinny or well, not skinny, but like, well, I can do skinny either or, but like one where she's like not at her max fatness, and then one as her max fatness with Lawrence being a bit of a horn dog. And Lawrence doesn't have that much money. He's not that wealthy, so he definitely does not have the same resources that Skylar does. And Skylar's not rich either. I mean, he does pretty well when he's older, but in terms of like when he's a teen, no, he's not that wealthy. But his family has a decent amount of money that they make from catering. And let's put like a spoon over here. But whole point is that they're clearly not in the same situation that Marcy and Skylar are. I was just saying that Lawrence is not in the same position. Lawrence and Caitlin are not in the same like food position as Marcy and Skylar are, and with their finances. Yeah, exactly. I mean, like I've said before, like I'm just drawing shit and letting people enjoy the ride. So if I work on something that people aren't interested in, that's perfectly fine. Whether it be weight loss, weight gain, turning characters into machines, something involving slimes, for the list goes on because I'm into a bunch of different shit. Breastfeeding, nuns, probably go and do some gore stuff, but I want to figure out where to go in on that to make it fun, because obviously just doing blood everywhere, just that's not interesting in of itself. But if there's like a decent story around it, then that's perfectly fine. Prison breaks, stuff happening in prisons. I mean, again, the list goes on. That's why I like variety, because there's so many different stories to tell. Okay, so did that, and that. Now I just need you. I gotta figure out how big this is compared to this character. I think this should be fine. So let's drop this so I can see better. Stuff happening in prisons. Yeah, pretty much. And then, of course, there's the stuff that goes on with characters like Tiffany, Blake, Stacy, and blah 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 blah. Point is, there's a lot to tackle, or there's a lot of stories I can tell. Yep, exactly. And I'm perfectly fine drawing that stuff too. Could do some drunk stories too. That'd be fun. Hypnotism, bondage. Again, the list goes on. It's probably easier to say what I wouldn't do. Patreon's funny about that. Well, luckily it won't be posted on their Patreon. It'll be on Dropbox. But I understand they can get all high and mighty about it. But I don't know. Honestly, it should not be an issue. And if they do discuss it with me or message me about it, then fine, I'll move it to Subscribestar or something. I'll be like, alright, here's Subscribestar's first exclusive comic. Which doesn't matter anyway, because it's all on fucking Dropbox. Unless I like just do a complete shift over the Dropbox. Which is dumb anyway, but you know, whatever happens, happens. I mean, by that logic, they seem to be fine with Vor. But it's not like they even know I exist, so should be fine, assuming I don't get popular. Which that ain't happening anytime soon. Then short stack stories, kobolds. I don't know, maybe do some goblin shit. That'd be fun. Point is, I will have fun. Alright, so if you're... How are we gonna go about this? So if your hands are like that, they're usually big. So your arms would probably be like here. And about here. And you're not exactly busty, but you're tall. And relatively big. So we're gonna go about this way. And you do have fur coming out from there, so pay attention to that. The problem with being small fry is that while you can go unnoticed, one's absence doesn't cause much of a ripple. Yeah, I know. It's one of those things where trying to move up the ladder, but it's difficult in some ways, unless I heavily lean towards what's the best way to phrase it? Manipulating popular trends. Because it's between. What's the best way to put it? Yeah, it's between like only doing fan art related stuff and sprinkling in my own things every once in a while. Doing something video related on like YouTube or whatever. Or I don't know, have like some kind of game or animation that that somehow does well, that I heavily focus on. So like for example, if I were to make a game based off of IHAT 1, then that would require all of my attention, and I wouldn't like do comics for a good long time if that was the case. Maybe do some artwork on the side, like maybe commissions or something, but most of my attention would be on making the game. So it kind of just depends on what am I willing to sacrifice if I want to move up the ladder harder, which is partially what I'm trying to do for this year, but not at that kind of level, or at least not from what I'm thinking of doing. So it's one of those things where it's like, well, I mean, there are ways to do it. It's just you gotta. There's always a trade-off. Unless I just get like ridiculously lucky for some unknown reason. That is Garbo. What are we doing here? Boob on this side's a little bit too small. Just a tad. You know what? There are easier ways to handle this. It's like, hey dumbass, you have technology, use it. That's about right. Viro game with a lewd battle, but okay, if I ever got a chance to work on a game, because I do have like RPG Maker and all that, so if I actually sat down and took time to actually do something and put all my effort into that, the things I would make. It could be a weight gain thing, it could be some kind of like dating sim lewd thing, I don't know. Like, I would lean towards so much bullshit. But that's why I have the card game, because it's easy. Because the card game, I can just make stuff and then eventually turn them into cards. Or just make stuff specifically for the cards, because there's no wrong answer. Like, I can take panels from the comics and make them cards, although personally I like making new art and not always recycling stuff like that. But if the need comes, then there it is, because I can always do that if I need to like fill in some support cards really quickly. But yeah, if I were to make an actual video game, that's That's gonna be me sitting there going like, okay, do I want an RPG? Do I want a dating sim or like a visual novel thing? Or whatever other category I'm interested in. I would love to do a fighting game, but good lord, that the amount of work that requires is... I do not envy the people who work on fighting games. Hello, Pablo. On the plus side, your retro is pretty established in circles. Playing lip service too. Yeah. Because, like, obviously Patreon helps out a lot when it comes to, you know, allowing me to make money doing what I'm doing. So it's not exactly like I want to bite the hand that feeds me sort of thing. But I am rather annoyed of what's the way to phrase it? Being controlled on what I'm allowed to do normally. It's like, oh, well, that doesn't sound good. It's like, it's fucking fantasy. It's not even real. What are you freaking the fuck out about? It's like, oh, well, hypnotism is a consent. Okay, sure. If this applied to a real life person, I would 100% agree with you. But it doesn't. What are we arguing? Like, that is the weird part. They keep treating fantasy characters as if they're real. And then anytime it comes down to, like, real people, nobody gives a shit. And I'm just like, what are we doing? But, again, whatever happens, happens, but I at least have options if certain shit were to happen. I'd be like, alright, guess we're not using Patreon anymore. Here's Subscribe Star, means I can do more risque shit, I guess. I don't know. I mean, personally, it'd be pretty much the same thing. I don't think there would be a difference, but if there is, then we'll figure that out when we get there. I mean, by that logic, I mean, it wasn't like Tim considered to being eaten, but I guess here we are. They didn't seem to have a problem with that, but again, I'm not known, so nobody knows what the fuck I do. I think people are slowly shifting to the idea that this is a game. That this is the game that we play. Yeah. It's just one of those things where the people who do hold the leash, they're like slowly figuring out that, hey, if we dictate too much, we might fuck ourselves, like what happened with OnlyFans when they were like, oh, well, we're not gonna allow mature content, and then they quickly changed face on that. Or what happened with Tumblr. Tumblr's like, oh, we don't want mature content, and then their website just plummeted after that. And then Gumroad did the same thing. It's like, we're not going to allow mature content, so like all the people started changing their content on it. And putting their stuff on like itch.io and whatever else. So it's like, okay, sure, you can have that position even though it doesn't make sense, but, you know, whatever happens, happens, I guess. Could see you starting off with a multi-route visual novel kind. Cat Boy Mac? Cake Cat Boy? I think I recall seeing the name Cake Cat Boy. I'll save that and post it on a search later. Because that sounds familiar. There's already a FAT for a fighting game. Oh yeah, the one done by Kaze Cat. But I wouldn't make it like a weight gain fighting game. I would just make it a fighting game with all the characters that I've made. Well, maybe not everybody, but like a good chunk of them. So like, I would just cross over all of the different series. So it'd be like World Gates, Buckle, Creamfield, IHAT, Black Circus, Tiny Pets for the sake of argument, since I do have characters for that. There's others as well that I haven't posted. So yeah, I would just make a game based on them, or make a fighting game with them in it. That would be fun. Okay, your patterns are a little weird, but not complicated. I can't see your other side of your arm very much, but we're going to do this anyway. The moment I see a full figure of Rouge return in signs, feet is the day. I know Viro made enough money to buy Shh. If I made enough money to influence Sega in any way, that would be fucking amazing. Like I'm gonna say that right now. If I somehow make enough, like more money than I would ever need, and put some of it into, you know, having some say in Sega, I totally would, and you would know why that would, and you would be able to know when that happens. I'd be like, Rouge the Bat, make her thicker. And they're like, what? It's like, yeah, make her like Sonic Adventure 2. Do it. Add some jiggle fixes. Not crazy. I'm not saying to make it all over the place. I'm just saying make it make sense. Make her playable too. I want another Sonic Adventure game where we have at least minimum 6 characters playable. Sega might fuck up one day. I don't want them to go out of business or anything. I still like Sega, but I would definitely love to manipulate certain situations just to make the series better. Because again, Sonic doesn't get that much budget. The only reason why Frontiers was given an extra amount of budget is because it was more successful than they expected it to be. Because even though Sonic is like, you know, the face of the company, the people who run the company don't really treat Sonic very well, or they consider Sonic like B tier. But due to like the movies and Frontiers doing well, they decided to up their budget a bit more. Fun question: were Blake to flip out and go into kill mode, what would be her weapon of choice? A bat, a metal bat. They wouldn't, because you would own their asses. I mean, yeah, I wouldn't be on a whole tirade about like, you know, let's fire a bunch of people type of thing, because if that's not necessary, then I don't see the point in doing so. I would just like to have the shift in mindset when it comes to like, and like obviously the series is supposed to be kid friendly. Like I'm not gonna say, oh, the games need to have blood and, you know, overly sexualized characters type of thing. Like no, like they can keep the designs they wanted, they made. I'm just saying, you know, be able to have fun with the series without having to censor themselves for ridiculous reasons. And I probably have Ian Flynn like on the team for fucking story. It's like nah. He knows what the fuck he's doing. He's on my level. Keep him. Let's make something happen. And then we would look through all the characters that Sega has legal rights to. And if that includes the Freedom Fighters, and you know their asses are going to be showing up in games. Because it makes zero fucking sense that if Sega does have their rights to them, which I believe they still do, why they haven't been used. It's like, my dude, have you looked? Have you seen the fandom? Oh yeah, I would love for Ian Flynn to be out of 100%. That'd be great. So yeah, I would pay, or I would influence as much as necessary to keep that series from any more bullshit than it needs. So that, if anything, that's probably my life goal. It's like, let that be my life goal, to make Sonic awesome again. In terms of, like, you know, allow the characters to actually do shit. Like with the whole, like, Sega's weird policy of Sonic is not allowed to lose. Like, he can experience hardship, but he can't lose. It's like, what the fuck do you mean he can't lose? Or why it took so fucking long for Shadow to get an actual story, to get actual story development. It's like, what are you guys doing? And granted, I understand, like, when it comes to Knuckles, Knuckles is the biggest hurdle. Because of all the shit that Ken Penders has done with the character. So Knuckles would honestly be the ultimate challenge to try to get anything to happen with that character. Because I would love to do tribal shit, but there's a limit to that because of what Ken Penders has done. So, like, if anything, we would have to look through everything that Ken Penders did with Knuckles and figure out what we can do to not infringe on what he owns. Because, like, you know, tribal characters is one thing, because, like, you can just do that, that's not a problem, but it's like what you do after that. Like with the Dark Brotherhood, their biggest problem is that they had, like, a lot of technology feats and stuff that were similar to the Brotherhood from the Archie comics, and so that's why Ken was able to get on their asses about that. So might have to switch up how that works. I don't know, maybe have them attacked by aliens or something. Something that makes sense. Which aliens wouldn't be too big of an issue if we were to use, like, the Chaos Species or whatever the hell they're called from Frontiers. And then just debate on, you know, when the Echidnas existed and when those things existed. So there's that. And then, you know, like, the Master Emerald, because, like, the Master Emerald is native to Earth, or whatever planet Sonic is on currently. Which, personally, I would just call it Mobius. That makes more sense, personally. But, like, figure that out. Because the Master Emerald was on Earth first. That's why that species was drawn to Earth, was because they picked up readings of the Emerald from Frontiers. So figure that out. Figure out if the tribes went at war with those species while they were dealing with the End or something. And go from there. Just figure out what we're allowed to do, and then just fucking do it. Movie Knuckles with the hat. Yeah, like, you could add Knuckles with the hat. At some point. Like, you can get, like let's just say once we, like, figure out Knuckles' shit and he decides to finally, you know, because they already discussed that they're gonna have Knuckles attempt to leave the island to, like, you know, venture out in the world in Frontiers. They already discussed that that's what he wants to do. But, like, figure his shit out, and then when he finally gets to, you know, go out in the world, then you can give him the hat outfit and stuff, and that would be great. We can grow his character. We don't always need Sonic around, because Sonic has more than enough backstory at this point. And just explore all the other characters every once in a while. I would say, make a Sonic game, and then, like, in between Sonic games, make, like, 2 or 3 games based off of the other characters, and just give them, like, some small little story development to help push them along as time passes. So, like, here's a story about you know, Tails or Rouge or Vector or like I don't know, Omega or something, because we like Omega has had no real character development, like at all. And even Big is like a simple character. So like I would say like characters like Big, for example, who have like no real goals in life other than fishing. You could have characters like that be like mini games or something. So like even though they may not get their own game by themselves, you can like sprinkle them in between. So that way you can have a bit more development for characters like that. So like I don't know, like characters like Rotor, for example, it's like okay, he may not do much, but you could characters like Rotor would be like a side quest type of thing. So like let's just say I made a game based off of Sally Acorn and show her like going on like stealth missions and shit like that. You could have Rotor be her tech guy, and so you just every time you pick up like gear and shit like that, you go to Rotor and he gives you new gadgets. And then you have like Nicole guiding her and shit like that. Or like say Sally needs to hack something, there you have Nicole for that. And you could have Nicole do like mini games in like cyberspace or something, and you can either do it just like a regular like hacking thing like in most stealth games, or you could give her like a cyber mission, so like use Nicole's cyber form or hologram form as the character that you would play as to do those missions. Like easy. Well, they say Sonic games take place on Earth now. Back then, they did mention that it was on Mobius before it was changed. Because Mobius was mentioned back in the Genesis days. But then again, we could always say that classic Sonic is on Mobius and modern Sonic is on Earth. There you go. We already have two different versions of the characters. Might as well utilize that. So yeah, there's no wrong answer with that if we have two versions of the same character. So there we go. We solved the problem by having two answers, which technically gives us more leverage because now we have two versions of the characters we can play with. And then definitely make a Sonic RPG, make it better than Dark Brotherhood. Hell, if anything, base it off of Yakuza. That is it Like a Dragon that's the RPG, or is it something else? Either way, do it like Yakuza, or even better, do it like Persona. Have the people who make Persona make a fucking Sonic RPG. There you go. That game would be stylish as fuck. Okay, so yeah, new life goal. Own assets in Sega and get Sega to do fun shit. That would be my life goal now. That would be the dream. Like, all right, new goal: make a shit ton of money somehow, and then own Sega, or at least have incredible say in Sega. Will it happen? Who knows? But I would like to make it happen, so that would be my life goal now. Oh yeah, and yes, exactly, and another Sonic fighting game, please. Either make it like, you know, Marvel vs. Capcom, or make it like Virtual Fighter. The way Sonic the Fighters or Sonic Champions, whichever version you want to call it. Just like those. So yeah, give them some specials and blah blah blah. Done. More racing games is fine. We can either make it like Sonic R or Sonic Racing or Team Racing. That's perfectly fine. What else does Sonic need to either return to or dabble in? I think that's about it. Unless you want to make like a Zelda style Sonic game, but that feels like that should be more towards like characters like Sally or like Amy or something. Like, you know, if the game does not have to do with speed, then make it more grounded and make it work for the characters that need it, like Whisper, for example. So yeah, just change up the genre based on the character. And it's odd because technically most characters in Sonic are technically fast, but like it's like not as utilized other than like video games where the characters are just running all the time. But yeah, I would just say make a different game based on the character. And then, I don't know, maybe have like a couple of napkins over here. So yeah, it's like, alright boys, here's the dream. Let's make it happen. It may take a few years, but that's what I would like to do. Now I'm craving ice cream. I think I have ice cream in the fridge. I don't know. I'll have to look later. Alright, some napkins. That's pretty much it. That needs to be on the table. Alright. So here's the page so far. Now we just gotta go into coloring. Dun, dun. So yeah, if at some point Sonic has some weird, bizarre, drastic change, and you start seeing characters that you didn't think would see in games, hopefully that'll be because of me. If not, whoever does end up doing that before me, good. It's like I would prefer it to happen sooner than later. But yeah, that would be my thought process on it. It's like, all right, hire the people that know what the fuck they're doing, and then make good shit. Like maybe the first project will be a little tame just to, you know, feel things out. But after that, if everything does well, then there you go. Like we're already in the era of people realizing, oh hey, if we make the things that people like, we'll make more money. Who would have thought? I would have been if they came to that realization, and I'm like, for whatever reason, sitting in on the discussion and whatever, it's like, hey guys, if we make the thing people like, then then we'll make more money. And you're like, yeah, yeah, I'll be there in the background going like, that's not gonna work. I'll just be that asshole just to go against whatever they say, just because. Or like if they did make a lot of money, it's like, guys, look at all the money we made. It's like, wow, I thought it would work. But yeah, ultimately, just it's so simple, and yet somehow we've made it so difficult. And I never understood that. Okay, I was like, what the fuck is this? I was like, why did I still have it on? Okay, this is fine. Caitlin, your colors are simple, but still a bitch. And it would probably help me if I turn this off. There we go. Chef Gordon, their asses. If I had to, yes. I'd be like, what the fuck is this? And it's like, what? It's Knuckles. It's like, what is he doing? Oh, you know, he's just running around and gliding, and you know, we make him do a drop spiral into the ground. It's like, okay, sure, but how come you can't air cancel his drop spin? And it's like, well, you know, because he's drop spinning. It's like, he can cancel it. Do it. Are we gonna utilize him digging? Are we gonna use that? Can he like maneuver underground, which would be kind of sick if he doesn't do that already? Like, lean into that. He's a treasure hunter. Why are we not leaning in on that? Rouge the Bat. She's supposed to be a fucking spy and a thief. We have done none of that with her. We did that in one game. That was it. Maybe two if you're being generous, but she's done that in one game. It's like, how do we have a thief who doesn't steal? Like, literally, Rouge has done absolutely nothing based on her character. And then when she's supposed to be working for the government or whatever, she's always like doing side stuff around the government. So we don't even know if she's like, you know, on the same level with them. Like with the whole stealing a space shuttle to go to the Ark for Shadow Generations, and they're all like, you know, if you had just asked, I would have helped. And I'm just like, yeah, Rouge, why didn't you run it by anybody? You have connections more than most characters in the series. And then I would flip-flop between using Robotnik's name and alias name with Eggman, because at least in the American side, they treat Eggman as a alias name that Sonic gave him, and he just like said, okay, fine, if you're gonna call me Eggman, then I'm gonna use it. So that makes sense. That's actually a smart move to do that. Okay, what parts of you are light? Down. I can leave your claws white. And then I think eventually I would love to do like some kind of actual backstory for Vanilla. Just make her like a retired spy or something, but she's like one of the best to ever exist. And if there's like older characters in the Sonic series, like fuck, what's his name? Crap, what is his name? Not Patch. IDW Sonic characters. What is his name? I'm drawing a blank. No. I believe they're working with him, but I'm trying to remember his damn name. This is gonna get to me now. I need to know the answer to this. No. You know what? It might show up in this. Show me this arc. Clutch. There we go. Have like some weird backstory involving Clutch. And then there you go. Like, just make Clutch younger, because the whole point is when Vanilla was younger, type of thing. And then there you go. And then at some point, she retires and thinks that Clutch is, you know, done being an asshole, or, you know, done with his plans and whatever. But then, you know, the comics say otherwise, because he's still doing shit. He's just older. So there you go. Have Mammoth Magoo come back, assuming he's not tied to Penders as well. Yeah, there you go. And then obviously, you know, have like the romance of Vector and Vanilla. You don't have to 100% like conclude anything, but obviously pair the two. Like, it's already. I mean, they were already doing it in the anime and the comics, so just ship them, make it official. We do have that one little panel where she's feeding him a little bit from the food she bought, so that was cute. Oh, you mean Antoine? No. I was thinking of Clutch. But yeah, you could have a story with Antoine too. It's not hard. Because, like, in the Archie comics, we saw him grow from being a coward to being actually heroic and stuff like that. So just do that again. Ship him with Bunny again. And there you go. Like, the Freedom Fighters are probably, like, the most developed characters of the series, due to both the cartoons and the comics. And then some characters are getting just as much development in the comics and the IDW side. So yeah, just do more of that. But like, put them in the games. And like, you can even do kind of a... Okay, like, if you're going to tie the comics to the games, make it like an actual thing. Don't just pretend shit in the comics don't exist when it comes to the games. Like, obviously they mention characters in Frontiers, but mention events that happen in the comics too. That way people will be like, oh shit, that happens in the comics, and get them to read the fucking comics. Just fucking do it. Hello, Reza. Or Riza. Doing alright, just working on this comic page. Yeah, so basically everything that they've been chicken shit to do in the comics for some unknown reason, just fucking do it. Yeah, like if I were to have Whisper have her own game, it would be kind of like a mix of platformer, but like stealth, but like a stealth shooter. Whereas the platforming would come from her, like, you know, running around the areas. Obviously, there'd be obstacles and stuff like that, and you would utilize the wisps to help her get through the terrain and stuff like that. So, like, oh, there's a secret behind this wall. Use the cube wisp, which makes her have a hammer, and you just break the wall with that. Oh, laser. Okay, use that for more accurate shooting or something like that, or even if that's just her default weapon for laser. Spikes. I believe that's when she shoots the buzzsaw move. You could use that for like harder to break through doorways or something like that. Rocket, help her fly or like jump up into the air and fly, and then use hover to help her float downwards and all that. Like, I would mostly focus on just the wisp from colors and not like the additional ones that got added on later. Like what was it? Was it Hawk or something like that, or Flight or something? I don't know. I don't remember what the name of that one was. But there was like a few others that got put in, like Asteroid or Black Hole. But like, just stick to the originals and you're fine. Alright, take care, Fox. But yeah, just make the game based around the characters. And you can still add like a bit of running stuff, like, you know, like Sonic games would. Like, add like some of the speed boost things, the springs and all that. Oh, and that's another thing. If I ever got in charge of fucking Sega, my first act is to change the fucking sound effect of the springs back to the original. Because I do not know why, but every time in the modern games they use the springs, for some reason they add like an extra sound effect to it, where you hear the spring, but then you hear a pew noise, and it's so fucking annoying because that noise makes it sound like they're moving faster than what you actually see, and it doesn't do anything. And I'm sitting there going like, why? Why did they add this sound effect to the springs? It makes no sense. It does nothing. It's just an annoying sound effect that they added on top of the springs. Oh, you're gonna be a challenge. Okay, so based on what I'm seeing with this character, I need to get rid of this, these, and this for the colors, because the rest of the character is going to be in that state, or at least the parts that matter. Yeah, that's going to be a pain. Well, it's not going to be a pain, it's just going to be a weird thing to look at. But yeah, that's going to be my new life mission to influence Sega. Not sure if I'm gonna color the major one or any particular scene or whatever. If I do, I can always just make that like part of the extras. That way it doesn't have to like break the middle of the comic or the comic itself. Because that kind of boils down to what would be considered important in this case. I guess I'll do it up here. And might as well color his ice cream just because. Alright. What color is this goddamn building? Okay, that's easy. Mobian versions of Sonic of IHAT characters would be fun to see. I mean, they basically just be chibi at that point. I wouldn't even know where to start on that because of their proportions. I could probably do it, I would just have to put some thought into it. Oh yeah, I need to color the sidewalk. I'll do that after I do this. If I ever do have some weird influence on Sega, I would like one of you to just post a video of Malcolm from Jurassic Park just going, "He did it! This son of a bitch did it!" That would humor. That would be entertaining. Oh yeah, I guess that would be shut up. Yeah, that makes sense. That's fine. Nature finds a way. They're like, go, do a crime. I'm like, wait, what? I would debate on whether or not I would want Cream to be taught self-defense by Shadow. That shit would be funny. I'll probably leave that alone, but it would still be humorous to me. But I would definitely want to expand on story with Vanilla. Mostly just background, because like she doesn't need to do anything in the present day, but at least show that she was like capable of something back in her day to make her threatening. Because like all we really get is like minor hints that she may have been top shit back in the day. But I would like to at least have that be a thing without ruining who she is in the modern day. Like I could see like if Cream was like a little bit older, but like still like obviously a kid, but just have her be like a bit gun crazed or something because she's been hanging around Shadow too much. Just make her like a bit of a not necessarily a smart ass, but like a little edgy, just like a little bit edgy, but still retaining her adorableness. So like what would be the, I mean, obviously there's like Rebecca, but I mean like kind of like I want to say either like Etna from Disgaea or like what's her name from Zenless Zone Zero, Bellabog, whatever her first name is. Kaleda, there we go. That would make her like a little bit like Kaleda, but just like a little bit more of a smart mouth. Just a little. Like enough where she gets scolded by Vanilla for talking that way. She'd be like, "Cream, manners." It's like, she's like, "Goodness, what happened with you?" And have her like a little bit miffed if she ever hangs around like edgier characters than just Amy, Rouge, and other female characters who are a little bit more polite. It's kind of like in the comics where Cream tells her mom all the crazy shit that she's been involved in. And Vanilla looks at both Amy and Rouge going like, "Really?" And they're just like, "Yeah, don't," but it was safe, very safe, and they were like trying to like save their asses. And Rouge is just like not saying a word because it's like, okay, what is she gonna say in this situation? Or I could see Cream being a little bit influenced by Surge, and that could be a thing. So yeah, but that's like if we're like aging her up and she does like crazier shit down the line. Which there's no reason we can't go back and forth. You just have to do it in a certain way that's not annoying. Personally, I would just say, you know, do it as the years go on, sort of thing. And then just figure out a cap for characters. It's like, all right, the maximum age of the characters will be blank, and then you can just have games until the end of time after that, if you're gonna go that route. But if there's ever like an actual end to the series, then that's when you have to go balls out. Be like, all right, Robotnik's doing something so incredibly evil that Sonic and friends are like, all right, we're not exactly gonna like don't have the characters like intentionally try to kill him type of thing, but make it so that whatever the plan is that Robotnik came up with, it's a plan that he can't like come back from type of thing, and that would be like the end of the series. But you would have to like resolve any other villains that would still exist at the time, just so it works out. That way you get rid of all the plot holes and loose ends. Apron, what do I want our apron to be this? Kinda in the middle on that. Could be either or, honestly. For now, I'm just gonna leave it like this. But we can color the heart. It's on the chest. yeah, I'm gonna be streaming for like another good 15 minutes or so. But yeah, take care, Alex. Have a good day. Don't stay up too late now. My sleep schedule is already a weird, warped nonsense. To me, this is early right now. But I guess since I've been streaming, I sleep like midday now. So maybe that will be my sleep schedule. I don't know. Whatever happens, happens. I need to fix that under eye. I'll do that in a moment. Fix that too. Yeah, I forgot to put on a strip over there. Note to self. Make sure I do that. Grab that one too. There's this old fanfic story that a long time ago. It was funny because Tails got drunk in a bar and they were still in Casino Night Zone. Didn't sound too fun. It might exist somewhere. Probably have to look in non-common websites. Or air quotes non-common. I don't know what the fuck is common anymore. But it probably exists somewhere. Can't imagine it not existing. I mean, hell, if I can find Overfiend, I'm pretty sure you could find that. Then again, there are some stories that I remember a long time ago that are difficult to come across. But that's mostly because the websites they were on, their search engines don't go that far back. Like, they probably still exist, but you'd have to go out of your way to try to find it. And that's like a difficult task to do. It's like, dude, I don't even know if you could even find that shit without doing some kind of witchcraft. Yeah, like I could see like Tails trying to like be tough or be more mature, and he like takes like a swig of alcohol, and it just, you know, he's just out. Or worse, like he keeps drinking, but then he's just like really incoherent and just talking nonsense. Because they've done that in like movies and stuff where kids end up drunk and just start saying nonsense. So I could totally see Tails doing the same shit. And it'd be funny. And then the next day he's like, fuck, what the hell happened? Or he's like, my head hurt. I have such a headache. He'd be like, whoa, my head's spinning. Yeah, I remember that. Wasn't that in Heroes? If I remember correctly. But yeah, just have fun with it. Like, obviously we don't want Tails to be drinking all the time or being an alcoholic or something like that. But like, just have like a short comic of him doing that. And then just regretting it. And then there you go. Oh, he did in 06 as well. '06 is like a fucking fever dream. If I ever said to bring back Elise, it would have to be in that Mobian form that they gave her in one of the calendar shots. Like, hold on, let me see if I can find it. I'll bring it up on here. Because there's one picture of Elise that looks really fucking good. And it shows what she would look like in like Mobian style. And I'm like, yes please. If you ever brought back the character, make her like that. And you could do the same thing to Sarah from Sonic OVA. Just, you know, make it work. Like, honestly, there aren't any characters that Sega can't just bring back and make into the modern day, or for whatever their idea is for the series. They just got to put in the effort to make it work. Like, obviously, if they were to bring the Freedom Fighters nowadays back, based off of the IDW comics type of storyline, obviously they won't have the same positions and all that. So you can just make the Freedom Fighters like another faction. And if you want the romance between Sonic and Sally to be a thing, then you just have to like ease that in, like have Sonic be interested and have them like interact with each other over and over time, and then build that relationship. As for Amy, she's already said that she's like trying to like be more mature and grow from who she used to be in Frontiers, so she can grow out of being so down bad for Sonic. Because it only seems like they shipped the two together just kind of because, even though Sally has way more build up from over the years of, you know, the fandom itself and stuff like that. So it kind of just boils down to what you want to focus on. Like, if you do want the focus to be Sonic and Amy, then you just gotta make it work and put in the effort. But if not, then, you know, you have Sonic and Sally, and that's like the easiest one to make sense. But yeah, where is that picture of Elise? Because it was really good. It's around here somewhere. I have it on. I put it in the official part of my drive for this exact reason. It's just a matter of where. Oh wait, is that it? Yeah, here it is. So here's Elise in Mobian style, and she looks amazing. Tails and Fiona. That, I mean, you could do Fiona, you could do Zoe from Boom. Whoever else Tails has been interested in. Like, as long as Sega's allowed to use those characters, you can make it happen. But you gotta make it make sense. But yeah, like at least in this looks great. Like you can easily bring her back, because like you can always bring back human character, like the human race into Sonic games and all that. Just make them have their own region, have them sprinkled around the areas every once in a while, because you know people travel, that makes sense. And just have a kingdom, like just say, okay, here's the kingdom. The majority of the population are humans. Elise is in fucking charge, or if you have her like this style, either she's in charge or she's a princess and she's like, you know, being groomed to take over when the time comes, type of thing. And she, like, you know, interacts with Sonic and his friends or any other important political figure in the other regions, and there you go. It's not hard. Same thing goes for Sarah. Sarah is the daughter of the president in Sonic OVA. Literally the same situation. Maybe a little bit different because Sarah seems less interested in politics and stuff like that. So you could have Sarah be the more rowdy type character. And Sarah's a cat girl, so that works anyway. So there you go. You have Sarah, who's like the more rowdy version of Elise. And they all have like different versions of their regions. Because like... Sarah lives in the land of the sky, so you have all that. So here you go. There's so much you can work with these characters. You just gotta fucking put in the time. And granted, obviously you may not be able to do everything as a fucking video game. Like, I get that, but that's what comics are for. And that's why, when it comes to the comic side of things, just intertwine them with the games more. Like, don't pretend that they're separate. Just mention them every once in a while. Like in the games, have the characters be like, "Oh yeah, this is like when blank happened," and then when people go like, "What? Wait, what? Sonic was involved in whatever scenario that they bring up," that will get them to go read the comics. And there you go. So not only do you advertise the comics a little bit more, but you link up the story events, and it gives people more to do and more to read up on. It is very simple. Yeah, Elise versus Sarah versus Madonna, and then I don't know, toss in Breezy just because. No, Breezy would be the one who if it's the Breezy from the Archie comics, you could have her play some bets. There you go. And then you could even have the Breezy from the Sonic the Hedgehog cartoon as a character, but like she's the one that tries to like be the imposter of the Archie version of Breezy. So you can have that be a thing for a little bit, where the cartoon version is like all lovey-dovey with Sonic, or even like Junior if you decide to bring him in. But have that be a thing, and then once they all find out that no, that's not the real Breezy, then you bring in, you know, Archie Breezy, and then there you go. You get that whole scenario. Then you could have like a weird setup of like, oh, you know, Junior likes the robotic version of Breezy more than the real one, and blah 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 blah. Like, I mean, you can go about that route if you want. You don't even have to use that storyline, unless, because you could probably think of something better. But there you go. Like, there are options, and granted, you don't have to bring in every fucking Sonic character that's ever existed. But there are plenty of, you know, well-known ones and popular ones that make sense to bring back. Like, I'm not saying, oh, this obscure character from Sonic the Comic should return in the modern day game / comics or whatever. I'm not saying that has to be the case, but, you know, if you ever run out of ideas or run out of characters or something, you have options. You have characters that you haven't even dived into to show up. Bring back the egg bosses from the Archie series. They were great. Especially Clove and her sister and what's her name? Oh my god, I'm blanking on her name. It's something the Chinchilla. Fuck, what's her name? Sonic Chinchilla. What was her name? Thunderbolt. There we go. So you can bring in Thunderbolt because she was relatively popular. Not by a lot, but she was enough where people liked her. So yeah, just bring the egg bosses in. Like, I mean, the egg bosses alone make way more sense than fucking Zavik and his crew. It's like, hey, we're demons, kinda. We're not really that threatening, but we're here, and for some reason we have the ability to control machines. Makes no goddamn sense, but there they are. It's like, why do you exist? And it's like, good fucking question. They weren't even that threatening. I mean, hell, you can even take Sally's early design and make a new character out of that. Or just make her like a robotic trap. It's like, oh no, it's a character Sonic needs to go save, and then you find out she's a fucking decoy. Alright, anyway. I'm gonna call it for tonight in terms of streaming and all that. Thank you all for coming. I'm gonna stream again same time tomorrow. Gonna keep at this. I should be done pretty soon. Not really much else to do other than shading and some background stuff and then the dialogue. Other than that, yeah, this will be done pretty soon. And I'll post that when it's ready. But yeah, you guys have a good night, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.